Authentic is the place to be, because you know what happens? You bring people like this guy in. Mr. Mike Bossy, number 22. Let's hear it. Come on! I thought you were leaving me hanging there. Man, you still have a grip. Honest to goodness. When's the last time you picked?
There's only one way I know how to shake a hand, and that's
but look
a little bit of.
Yeah, but that's where the force. That's where that gunshot of a shot, the puck was going.
There's nothing left there anymore. I get it from lifting my granddaughters up. That's
so how many do you have?
2 granddaughters, 8 soon, and 4.5.
So what do they call you? Do they call you
Happy.
The great one, or the happy, or what?
Happy.
Yeah, you're a great guy. Hey, listen, you were doing some signings. You were seeing some of your fans here. We're gonna get back to some more signings. It's such a nice feeling, I guess, to see young and old, and then people bringing these, like, here's some old cards. What does that reflect when you look up at your career? And
honestly, I'm always humbled when someone comes and asks me for my autograph. It's funny. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and I was telling her that I was coming to Kelowna to sign autographs, and she says, "That's ridiculous." And in the end, I guess it is a little ridiculous, and that's why I say I'm humbled when people, watched me play, were that enthralled about my play that they come and ask me for my autograph. It's always nice and always appreciated.
Well, even an old broadcaster like myself who's put on some pounds, I'm even humbled just to be near you. And as I was doing my research on you, everyone knows my Bossy. Everybody knows number 22, the New York Islanders. Everybody knows that. But some of the stats and some of the numbers and stuff like that are just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And then as I got more into researching and looking up some old interviews and calling on some of my media buddies from across the country, there's a certain theme that comes to it all the time. Everyone talks about the 59 games and 50 the first time, and your idol Rockford Shard, and what a thrill that was to break that record. But you really are a gentleman's gentleman on and off the ice. And I think Trottier said it best when he said, because you and him were roommates, right?
Yeah, roommates, teammates, line mates, roommates. Yeah,
but there was one year that they almost broke you up as roommates. Is that right?
Well, they tried to.
How long?
Actually, Al Arbor retired after my 9th season, and Terry Simpson came on to coach, and I guess he wanted to change things up, or tried to change things up anyway. So he tried to separate Brian and myself when we went on the first road trip, but I guess we were a little naughty and switched keys with the roommates that he had given out, and went back and roomed together. We figured we'd had 9 years together and we're pretty successful, so we didn't want a chance not starting that 10th season off together.
Well, that's what I mean, and then that transferred onto the ice, because he seemed to always know where to place the puck out. When he was working in the boards, he would shoot that puck out to you, and then of course you would just shoot it, and everyone said, well, he'll pick the top right, or he'll pick the top left, or he'll pick the bottom. But
Brian, it's funny, but Brian never did anything haphazardly. He knew. He always had a good view of the ice, and we had great chemistry together. I always used to tell Brian, if you see my stick, then you can pass me the puck, and I'll figure a way to get a shot away. So
what a shot it was.
We had great chemistry. We loved playing with each other, and I think above all, we both wanted to be successful. And when you have guys who want to be successful and know how to manage that at the same time, and want the other guy to be successful, then that's how we were able to play so well together and to be successful as individuals as well as teammates as a team.
I have to tell you, there was a funny part. Your GM, your first GM,
Bill Torrey.
Yeah, Bill said a funny story that I want you to see if this is true or not. I think it might be true, just because getting to know you now. Did you go in there and saying about your contract, and then you negotiated, and the numbers weren't quite at the level that you were hoping for, and you said something to the fact of, I'm going to score 50 and 50?
Well, not 50 and 50. We were sitting down, and obviously, yes, the first offer that they'd made wasn't anywhere near what I was anticipating. And I remember my agent looking at me before the meeting with Tori and saying, you know, we gotta say something that's going to make him react. And I said, well, tell him I'll get 50 goals next year, my first season.
Rookie.
And we were sitting down, and you know, he looked at me and said, Mike, he says, what do you think you can you know, accomplish with the Islanders? And I said, I think I can get 50 goals next year. And he looked at me and started laughing. And it was quite funny, actually, when I thought of it afterwards. But
you're a bossy guy.
I wanted to be bold. I wanted to look confident, and I actually ended up, you know, getting 53 my first year. So you know, I made that prediction come true.
You sure
never made anywhere near the kind of money that I should have for someone who scored 50 goals in his rookie
But
year.
you're not holding that still to this day.
Oh, no,
of course not. There you go. Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But
Yeah.
let's talk about that 50th really quickly. Okay, so tremendous pressure. Tremendous pressure. You got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, tremendous pressure on this athlete to achieve that within the 50 games. So we're coming down the wire now, and we're at how many goals? And here we are at goal 48, right? And you're.
Well, I had 48 after 47 games.
Right.
Didn't score.
So first period, what I wanted to say, the first period of that game.
Yeah, well, I didn't score in 48 and didn't score in 49. Won in the game in Detroit, at home against Calgary, and ended up getting the 50th game going against the Quebec Nordiques. And what was special going up against the Nordiques was that it was obviously a team from the same province that I grew up in. Same coach that I played against in junior hockey, and you know, they had this guy who covered me on that day. I mean, anytime,
was it Cote?
Alain Cote. Anytime we played against the Quebec Nordiques, it was always one of Michel Bergeron's mandates not to have me score, and that going back to when I played junior against him. So I knew that game was going to be tough, and it turned out to be just that. Didn't score in the first period, didn't score in the second period, and I really thought that the chase for 50 was over. And what was a little ironic about the whole thing is that Charlie Simmer played that afternoon against the Boston Bruins, and he was chasing 50 and 52, and ended up getting 2 goals in that game and had 49 goals. So I went into the third period thinking that not only was I not going to get 50 and 50, but I wasn't even going to get as many as Charlie Simmer in 50. And then, you know, there's things happened like they usually did.
I was watching some of the footage of some of those goals. Like that was unbelievable.
Power play
look at the power play
near the end of the third period. I think there's like 5 or so minutes left, and I got a rebound cruising up front of the net, and then a couple of minutes later, Brian and John Tonelli broke up play by the Nordiques trying to come out of their own end, and Brian saw me on the left hand top of the circle and passed the puck over, and there was 50 and 50. So it was it ended quite dramatically and very different to the way that I thought it was going to end at the end of the second period.
I was going to tell you, watching the footage of when you actually, the emotion erupted because the pressure was released, and you leaped. You probably remember this. You leaped up, and your legs were like this, and as you were running, then you hit the ice and started doing that. So it was kind of like a Yogi Berra thing that was happening.
Because I get mimicked a lot about that celebration, and people that the younger players today, they say, "Oh, yeah, that was a nice celebration." Goal celebration. I said, no, I didn't do that all the time. It was kind of a special moment.
It was, and then you know what? To have the world and hockey fans share that with you, and then to repeat it 9, like that's amazing. That is truly amazing, and 4 Stanley Cups. So I got to ask you something. I mean, like I said, I've had the pleasure of interviewing some great athletes with different rings. Where does Mike keep his rings?
The safety deposit.
Is it ever out on a special occasion? Like, was there an anniversary or a wedding or a birth or something? You know what I mean? Like, have you ever brought it out? Because you're very modest, it seems.
If someone